It's February 1st, 2019, and I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, disapprove. Not only did I buy the PlayStation Classic, but I had went ahead and bought it from GameStop of all places. Now let me start off by saying that I did not pre-order this, nor did I spend $100 on it. For those of you who are unaware, in less than a month, the PlayStation Classic received a permanent price cut. And I figured $60 was a fairly decent price, and rather than do your typical unboxing of just the classic, I figured I'd do a side-by-side comparison of the PlayStation Classic and the 1994 original PlayStation. So, as you can tell on the front here, it says the Sony PlayStation Classic, and on the left side it says, Sony, are you ready to play? And as you can tell, we have Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, the Resident Evil Director's Cut, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Tekken 3, and Twisted Metal. 20 incredible games that defined an era. PlayStation Classic. And on the right side, we have, it pretty much just says what it contains. It obviously contains the console. It contains the two controllers, which the cable length is approximately 1.5 meters or 59.1 inches. It has the USB cable for power supply, which is also 1.5 meters and 59.1 inches. It also has an HDMI cable, which is approximately 2 meters or 78.7 inches. And it has printed materials, obviously, because, some people have trouble setting up these types of things. So, it has 20 classic games preloaded. There's Battle Arena Toshiden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld Apes Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. And the following is contained for a mature audience. It has blood and gore, sexual themes, strong lyrics, and violence. Viewer discretion is advised. So let's go ahead and get into the unboxing. I will unbox this first, and then I will take out the 1994 original PlayStation so we can do the side-by-side comparison in that. So, pretty much just like the PlayStation 4, it is a box with inside, or the slim PS4, it is a box with inside a box. Just so, if you ever lose the cover box, you at least have another box just to have it in, or maybe this would just be the travel box if you don't want to get the other one messed up. So here we have the printed instructions, pretty much just how to set it up. I'm not even going to bother taking that out because I obviously know how to set up a PlayStation, so I'm just going to leave that there. And here we have the Classic, which is actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Honestly, I'm actually quite surprised. This looks pretty much, well, just like how it is supposed to look. A PlayStation 1, just 45% smaller than the original package. I mean, it is very nice. I think it's very sleek, and I really like how that looks. It's actually fairly fascinating, and it's very interesting to see how they just made it from a very small pose, or they made it a lot smaller than what it was originally intended to be. Alright, so going in further, we have what looks like it might be the cord for the controllers. I'm pretty sure I would just need to plug that in the front there, or okay, maybe not. It seems as though every controller, well, wow, what do you know? It's pretty much just as big as the Classic itself. So it pretty much looks just like an ordinary PlayStation controller. Remember that this was before analog sticks were a thing, for that matter, and it actually just has a USB import rather than the regular, whatever it was called. I honestly can't remember. My bad, I can't even remember what the ordinary plug-in was for the PlayStation. Yeah, that could be very bad. And we have HDMI cables, which obviously we would plug into the back just so we can, so it would all work out, or so we can see the screen, obviously. So, going further into this unboxing, like I said earlier, we are going to do a side-by-side comparison of the Classic and the 1994 original PlayStation. But I think what we're going to start with first is the controller. So here we have the original controller, and here we have the Classic controller. They look fairly similar in size. I mean, it's just that this one looks a little dirty and also looks a little dated. And as you can tell, they still have like the difference of the plugins, how they look. As you can tell, I mean, obviously they look very different, and one looks a bit more high-tech than the other. So, moving on, we're going to get down to the system. The system itself, like the Classic system. So, going into what we know, this is the ordinary system. As you can tell, it is 45% bigger than the Classic. Matter of fact, the Classic literally doesn't even take up that much of the original PlayStation. They look very similar in the sense that, well, they are very similar, obviously. They have the power button, as you can tell. It's still on the right side, and well above it is the reset button. They still have PlayStation and Sony above and all, and they also have the open button, although on this one I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. And as you can tell on the front side, we have, well, the different plugins for the controllers. As you can tell, they still have the memory card import, and this one doesn't even have that, provided that memory cards aren't, well, they still are a thing in today's day and age, but they're built into the system. They're not like how it was with the PS1 and the PS2, where you had to keep track of your memory card if you lost it, and probably leave your system on for days if you couldn't even find it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the side-by-side comparison. I honestly think that the Classic is a very interesting thing, and I do like that it stays very true to the 1994 Classic, and I will say I am fairly disappointed on the games altogether. I mean, for the 20 games that we got, I understand why certain ones, although they defined an error and people are disappointed that Crash and Spiral didn't quite make the cut. Sony doesn't intentionally own the license to that. Activision does. And we had also gotten remakes for those, not to say that that's not trying to really defend them in that act, but for what it's worth, I mean, I feel like certain games, like maybe Tomb Raider 2 could have made the list, or Gran Turismo, or maybe Dino Crisis. But I will say I do plan on playing Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil Director's Cut, pretty much the 6 games that were on the side of the Classic box. I do plan on playing those the most out of all of them. And while I'm pretty sure most of you guys will, assuming if you lasted this long, although you may not approve of me buying this, I personally don't feel as though it's a bad thing that I did. I mean, I'm kind of a PlayStation fanboy, but that's just me. And I hope for those of you who lasted this long, I hope you enjoy the video. If you disapprove, please let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon that appears right next to it once you do. Hope to see you next time. Bye.